Given where Tacoma was when I took office compared to where we are now, I can say we've had a good run. We weathered a recession that was deeper and more severe than anyone imagined. We had to make some really hard decisions with, letting staff go. We've had 2 city managers, and so I think that, compared to where we were then, compared to where we are now, we are more financially stable. We're in the process of restoring services. We have some, dedicated revenues now to handle what I call the meat and potatoes of government, like fixing our streets. And so really, we're in a much better place. One of the things I always wanted to do was to really improve our reputation as a city. People come here who aren't from here and they see our assets and they look at the community, they're usually pretty impressed. And so I think, in some of the things that we've done with attracting international investment or even attracting investment from investors outside of Tacoma, I think it has really given people locally the idea that, maybe this is a city worth investing in and it's okay to take the risk as a private developer. And you're starting to see more and more of that happen. After 40 years, the voters said yes to passing a streets measure. So now our Public Works Department has a dedicated revenue source, and they leverage that because, for example, we set the goal of trying to get $90 million worth of grants over 10 years. Right now, we're already at $50 million. And so the ability to leverage other funding and attract it, because we are demonstrating that we as a community are willing to put skin in the game, has been really effective. Social media has really had an impact on how you govern, how you have to try and get factual information out there, and the expectations that people now have of government. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because social media can be one of those things that really helps organize people. You can disseminate information very quickly, but at the same time, it allows information to get out there that's not factual or exaggerated. In a world of headlines and X number of characters, people tend to have knee-jerk reactions to things. I think that I was one of the first people in government outside of the school district to talk about the need for all of us to come together as a city. And maybe it's because I'm married to an educator, but we understand that so much of a student's ability to be successful in the classroom is tied to what happens before they even show up on campus. And so is it housing, is it stability, is it something as simple as hunger? Are there social and emotional needs that aren't being met? And so I think that challenging the entire city to say, what role do I have in education on this whole continuum and how can I contribute? Everyone stepped up, and the numbers speak for themselves. 55% in 2010 to 86% last year. That is outstanding, and I think there's more to do. I'm a supporter of term limits because without them, I would never become mayor. It would have been pretty hard to unseat an incumbent who was likely to run again. At the same time, I wish that I could serve 3 terms instead of 2, because there's a saying, and I'm going to totally botch it, but it says you often don't get to enjoy the shades of the trees that you plant when you're elected official, because government takes so long and it's so process oriented. And we've got $1 billion worth of investment slated to go online in the next few years, and there will be a ribbon cutting for a new convention center hotel that I worked really hard to bring here through international investment. There's some projects around town. Sound Transit is finally going to be able to have service from SeaTac Airport to the Tacoma Dome, and I will ride that line one day. So right now, I don't have any specific plans. I really do not plan to run for elected office, but I tell folks never say never. And so right now, I'm just keeping all my options open.